For Drew Brees to take as long as he's taken to contemplate coming back to play for $30+ million is telling. And the fact that Sean Payton doesn't have a solid game plan, his game plan is to beg Drew to come back for a transition year to help Taysom Hill, who doesn't want to play in a transition year, who wants to play right now. People are not talking about that. And then we were the first to start talking about that. Then all of a sudden they talk about it now. But you can see it.
Okay, I ain't saying nothing nobody else ain't saying. What's wrong with Teddy? Why we have so little faith in Teddy? Or at least the front office got so much. I like Teddy. I think Teddy make Sean Payton somewhat of a better coach because he run the ball more. You know That's
true because he can't rely on them with the pass. He knows Teddy Bridgewater didn't know enough about the offensive playbook, so he knew that he would have to use the running game to complement him. And they won 5 games in a row. They didn't look perfect doing it, but they responded to that style of play. But then when Drew Brees comes back, he got back in this complacency.
Well, look, I won't say this before you cut me loose, but I'm gonna say that the reason why I'm over here because I'm tired of when I listen to these radio shows, I ain't gonna say the people name. I feel like that major one is trying to condition me for the foolishness that that the Saints gonna do in this off season. And that look like that's all that they always do. They come with these little theories and they don't talk about the real issues and the right issues, or they kind of mully around the points and look like they try to condition you for that bullshit that the team is trying to sell you. Because I'm still trying. Yeah, I know Teddy is not Drew Brees, but you know what? I think every team in the league is trying to find young potential young quarterback or young players that have an upside. And to let a man, that's a shame to be letting a man walk out the door. And you could do something. You got somebody that could win over here, just because you don't like the numbers. That's what a man's supposed to do. He's supposed to do better. He's supposed to prove himself. And because you got to pay him $20 million, you're gonna let him walk out the door. That's ridiculous to me.
So they can't be real like you want them to be real. And it is a milquetoast situation. That's why the Sports Coma and the Great Saints Think Tank exists. We don't play that. Even though we support the team, but we're gonna support you in righteousness. We won't support you in any other way. And we're gonna maul over and critical think these things, just like you doing, Anderson. We're gonna critical think these things. And when I got it on the screen right now, Teddy Bridgewater's numbers: $20 million average annual salary, and the market value says 3-year contract, just worth over $60 million, averaging just over $20 million a season. Now you look at that's what they're anticipating his free agent contract will be this upcoming season. The reality at the end of the day is that there is absolutely nothing wrong with Teddy Bridgewater taking the, no pun intended, the bridge over troubled waters for the Saints, because he could be the bridge between the past and the present into the future. He is the perfect candidate. For whatever reason, you would then totally alienate Teddy Bridgewater, which Sean Payton did by basically coming out and telling Taysom Hill he's the future and that they need Drew Brees back for a transition year. Well, not mention Teddy Bridgewater. They come out in several Super Bowl interviews and then say that it's highly unrealistic that we'll bring all 3 back. While mentioning the 2, I just have to call him out on this bull crap, man. But you're absolutely right. Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback. You should not be looking in free agency right now for a quarterback to step in. Taysom does not want to come, and I said that before all this broke. Taysom does not want to be a transition quarterback. He does not want to go out there and play for you as a wide receiver, a tight end, and a running back anymore. He did that to make a name for himself. Now that he's made a name and they know who he is, he wants now to be a quarterback. He's approaching 30 years of age. He don't want to do that stuff no more.
So that makes it, to me, even more ridiculous. So if so you got somebody that don't want to play that role anymore, that you gonna want to. I don't see it working. I don't see it working. Maybe his heart may not be in it. I don't know. I mean, he's a professional, so he may do his job. But I'm just saying, I would prefer somebody who want to take that role. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Rather than force the man to do Because like I said, if he was really any quarterback of the future, he wouldn't be out there doing what he's doing. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Sean Payton is asking a 41-year-old quarterback to come back. That is just takes me apart every time I think about it, because what was your thought process when the man was 38 years old, when he was 39, 37 years old, when he was 38 years old, when he was 39 years old, and then of course when he's 41, you want him to come back because you ain't ready yet. That's pretty much what he's telling you, that he ain't ready yet. They ain't ready, and the transition is not for Taysom Hill. I keep telling people that. He trying to put it, and see that's how Sean Payton framing it. And see, that's why I keep saying, telling people, and WWL ain't gonna tell you the truth. I've already done laid them out and lambasted several of their commentators. Though we got several dozen people in the building, administrator that listen to the show, several players that listen to the show, and people listen to the Sports Call. We've been doing it for over 5 years. So we out there, and we consistently out there. And the reason why a lot of people gravitate to the show is because they're shocked by the realness of the show. It's like that is exactly what's wrong with this team, but nobody wants to say it because they too busy brown nose and they busy kissing tail. You don't need to do all that to make it in that tail. The transition is not for Taysom Hill. Sean Payton is trying to frame it like it is, and I told people this several shows ago. I said, listen, the transition is for him because he is not comfortable with any other quarterback. He is not comfortable with any other quarterback not named Drew Brees. So the transition is for him, for Drew to play so he can possibly groom a quarterback. Something he should have done at least 3 or 4, 5 years ago, by the way. It should have been already done. But you asking your 41-year-old quarterback to come back for a transition year. Not a year to go to the Super Bowl. Not to win the Super Bowl. Not to go and right the wrongs of the last 3 seasons of funk in the playoffs. Not to do that. Simply to transition a quarterback from one point to another. And by the way, the quarterback that he wants to transition doesn't want to be a transition quarterback. He's telling every media outlet with ears and a microphone that I am a starting quarterback and I want to play. And if I have to leave the Saints to play, I will. This is what the man's saying. But people believing what the rest of them saying. The thing is, he does have the right, because he knows that all this is a game to push his value up in the air. If you can get another team that enthralled, that in love with him, to offer him really nice contract, it'll force the Saints to make a decision on how they want to deal with him. Will they be comfortable paying Taysom Hill over $5 million a season? You know, they might not want to pay that, but of course they realize that the Saints paid $8 to $9 million for Teddy Bridgewater last year. Would they do the same for Taysom Hill if somebody reached out to him and put him his contract between that amount of money? Will the Saints match it? My thing is, they will have to think about it. But if you bring Taysom Hill back in that capacity, you will have to have another quarterback to play in the Saints offense where Taysom can do what he wants. Because Sean Payton don't want Taysom Hill the quarterback. That's the liar Sean Payton, politician. That's politician Payton talking. I keep telling people that. Politician Payton don't want Taysom Hill. Listen to me, y'all. Y'all listen to me when I'm telling y'all, because WWL and all these other buffoonish organizations out here who kissing the Saints' ass, they're not going to tell you the truth. The reality of the day is Sean Payton does not want Taysom Hill the quarterback. He wants Taysom Hill the running back, Taysom Hill the wide receiver, Taysom Hill the tight end, and Taysom Hill the special teams player. That's what he wants, and occasionally he'll appease them by letting them get in there and throw the ball. But how? Go back into your mental minds, into your Saints minds, and pull up in your mind and tell me the number. This goes out to you, Hennessy. This goes out to the entire Great Saints Think Tank, the entire sports combination. I want y'all to tell me in y'all mental minds, how many times in last year in the regular season did Taysom Hill throw the ball? Was it over 10 times? Then contrast that versus how many times he ran the ball. Come on now, think about it. How many times did he throw it, Hennessy, versus how many times did he run it?
Yeah, I would say about 10, 15 times.
Now,
15 is generous.
Okay, 15 is generous for him throwing the ball, and how many times did he run it?
Oh, he ran a lot.
Okay, so
he ran a lot.
So Hennessy, my FedEx, the question is, does Sean Payton really want Taysom Hill the quarterback or Taysom Hill the gadget man?
He wants the gadget man.
So what's this transition nonsense about then? How is he going to transition a gadget man to a quarterback when he's only involved in gadgetry? He's not going to be playing the quarterback position. And then remember the article that came out that said that he was going to pay Taysom Hill 20-something or 30% of the plays at quarterback versus Drew Brees 75 to 70% of the plays. If y'all believe that Sean Payton has the discipline to play Drew Brees at 70% of the passing plays versus Taysom at 30% of the pass plays, you need your head examined because you need your head examined because he don't even have the discipline to stick to the running game. How he gonna stick to that?